Morning again, everyone. And welcome to everybody who tunes in online. A special shout out to Fred in Frisco, Texas. 2 Texas in a row. So welcome, Fred. Thanks for tuning in. So, these 3 old ladies are playing bridge together, and they're bragging about their sons. And the first lady, Margaret, says, "My Freddie, everyone should be so lucky to have a son like my son Freddie. Once a week, he brings me a bouquet of flowers, and he's constantly taking me to different restaurants to eat. And if I so much as hint that I want something, the next morning it's on my front door." "That's very nice about your Freddie," said Gertrude. "But with all due respect, when I think about the way my Sammy cares for me, it just can't compare. Every morning, as soon as I get up, he brings me bacon and eggs and freshly brewed coffee. Every lunchtime, he comes over and cooks me a gourmet lunch. And every 4 nights a week, he brings me to his house for dinner, and he treats me like a queen." "Well," Barbara said, "I don't want to make either of you feel bad about anything, but wait until you hear about my Harry. Twice a week, Harry pays someone $200 an hour so that he can lie on their couch and talk to them. And at those high prices, you know what he wants to talk about? All he wants to talk about is me." That's a bad joke. This morning, we're talking about regrets. And I've already kicked it off well because I regret telling you that bad joke. So how many people here have a relationship in your life, whether it's with a parent or a child or a sibling or in-laws, that it isn't as loving or close or as nurturing as you'd like it to be, and you've worked hard and you feel a little sad and disappointed it isn't as close as you like? Anybody have a relationship like that in your life? How many people ever in an important relationship in your life have ever said something a little mean or insensitive, and later on you really regretted saying it? Anybody regret saying anything? How many people have ever made a really bad decision of investment where you lost money, or a bad career move, and you just wish you could take it back and get a do-over? Any do-overs in the house? So the fact is, we all have regrets, and we have regrets of all kinds. Relationship regrets and career regrets, financial regrets, health regrets, regrets of opportunities that we missed, regrets of things that we didn't do, like didn't go to college or didn't finish our book or didn't start our own business. And sometimes we regret things we did do, like overspend for some item or that new outfit, or ate that 4th Krispy Kreme donut. Sometimes I know one person that wouldn't regret it, but I won't say who that is. We all have regrets. Every one of us acknowledges and realizes that we have regrets in our lives. And the question is, what's a regret? A regret is a feeling of sadness, a feeling of disappointment, a feeling of shame, some negative emotional state that involves blaming ourselves for some bad outcome, and a feeling and a sense of sorrow and loss at what might have been, or wishing that we could undo something that is already done. And the truth is, depending on the type of regret, sometimes regrets can be painful. And I would suggest sometimes regrets can even be harmful in the fact that they keep us stuck in the past. They keep the pain from those situations still alive, and they end up blocking our peace of mind. They block our joy and our creativity and really stop us from moving on to live and love at the full level that we all want to. How many people here still have some regret in your life, and when you think about it, it still ticks you off and you get mad about it? Anybody have one of those lingering ones? Okay, 5 of us. That's perfect. I prepared this for 5 people. It worked out great. So today, we are looking at the song "Cats in the Cradle" by Harry Chapin that came out in 1974. And this is a song about a father's regret, about being too busy to spend time with his son, too busy to play with him, too busy to sit and chat with him, too busy to get to know him. This song was actually originally written as a poem by his wife, Harry Chapin's wife, Sandy, who wrote it about her first husband's relationship with her dad that was similar to this song, but it really wasn't there. There was that disconnect, never had time. And she gave it to Harry, and he added the music to it, and he said in an interview that he was scared about this because they just had a son, 2-year-old Joshua, and he really didn't want to be living that song. It's interesting, when I heard this song, I was 11 years old, and I loved it from the time I heard it. And you could feel the sadness in the song. Even at 11, you could feel the sadness in the song, and you could empathize with the regret, with the missed opportunities, with putting things off. I bet every single one of us, no matter what age or stage we heard that song, can relate to it, because we as human beings have relationships where we have regrets, where we wish we'd loved more, where we wish we'd spent more time, where we wish we had said things. Some people see this as a sad song, but I see it as a song of hope. It's a song of warning us, don't put off your love. Don't avoid spending time with those you love. It's interesting, Harry Chapin died in a car accident in 1981. His son Joshua was 9. I saw an interview with Joshua, and Joshua said, what he finds so interesting about this song is that people come up to him and said, I loved your dad's song so much. It helped heal my relationship with me and my dad. Or it helped heal my relationship with me and my son. So while this song is sad and a song of regret and a bit of a cautionary tale, I see this as a song of hope and a song that opens our hearts and minds to the possibility of healing, reconciliation, and loving even in a more profound way. So we're in the final week of our annual series, The Songs of Life, because everybody's got a song that touched you at exactly the moment you needed, that helped lift you out of a dark place, that helped keep you striving and motivating to keep going after your goals and dreams. Songs do some things that words alone can't. And so in this year, we've been doing this for 11 years here. I've been doing it for 16, 17 years in my career because music is so powerful. First week we did When Will I Ever Learn to Live in God by Van Morrison. Week 2 was In My Life by the Beatles. Week 3 was Three Little Birds about not worrying about a thing, Bob Marley. Last week, Reverend Rogers for me did Carole King's Beautiful, and today we're going to wrap up with Harry Chapin's Cats in the Cradle. So what can we do to not get stuck in our regrets, stuck in the pain of the past, and hold on to that disappointment? What do we need to do to move beyond it to greater things? And the first one is we need to learn to let go of regret. And the first step in letting go of regret is to understand why do we have regrets? What's the source of regrets? And I'll tell you there are 2 of them. The first one is that because we have a desire for a better life. We all want to do better. We want to be better in our work. We want to be more successful. We want to be better people, better leaders. And sometimes when we fall short of the level that we want, we feel some regret that weren't as kind, weren't as good, weren't as successful, weren't as effective. And then the second, regret is comparing ourselves to some standard we have for ourselves. And the second one is kind of similar, and that is we have some level of identity of how we see ourselves, that I'm mature, or I'm smart, or I'm spiritual, or I'm good-hearted. And then we act in a way that's outside of, like your old 3-year-old comes out and you throw a little tantrum. So it freaks ourselves out that we acted in a way, and we have regret and think, God, why did I act that way? Why did I say something so stupid? And we have it because not only is the standard of the kind of life we want to have, the kind of person we want to be, and when we fall short, we tend to feel a lot of regret. Now, regret in and of itself is not a bad thing because it can help teach us how to learn and improve and do it better the next time. When regret becomes a challenge is when we actually hold on to it and get attached to it and start blaming and beating ourselves up for not being as good. It's interesting, regret comes from a desire for a good life, but when we hold on to the regret and beat ourselves up and feel blame and shame, we actually sabotage the very good life we're trying to seek in the first place. Does that make sense? And so it's very, very interesting that we hold ourselves to these standards. Baseball players, if they hit 300, they're good. 400, you're extraordinary. That's 30%, 40%. And we think they're superstars. And yet we expect ourselves to get it right all the time. And when we don't, we pound ourselves, criticize ourselves, judge ourselves, blame and shame ourselves for not living up to this imaginary standard that we all made up. There's nothing wrong with striving for greatness. It's just let go of the judgment and the blame and the shame that we put on ourselves. So I ask you, where in your life are you beating yourself up for something you said or did or didn't say or didn't do? Where in your life are you holding something against yourself for not being, at the level you think you should be? I'll tell you, if we want to move beyond regret, we need to learn how to let go. how to let go of the pain, let go of the past, let go of the judgment, and nothing does it more powerfully than acceptance. As it says in the big book, page 417, acceptance is the answer to all of my problems today. So much in life that we are always resisting and hating and denying instead of just accepting that that's what is. That's what has happened. And when we find acceptance, we find peace, because we release the judgment and the anger and the resistance, and we open a way not only for peace in the moment, but to utilize creative energies to attract something even greater and something even better. So I ask you, what in your life do you need to make peace with from your past? What in your life is it time for you to have a level of acceptance and know that that is just the way things happened? And that when you accept it, that's when the building and the healing and the growth can take place. You know, sometimes we always want all our ducks in a row and everything to be perfect before we let ourselves be happy. I've got a fridge magnet that says, life doesn't have to be perfect to be wonderful. You know, and the fact is, you know, with regrets, they happen. They're messy. Life is sometimes messy, and we need to just accept that very truth. Nobody gets it right all the time. Nobody. It's sloppy, it's messy, you know, it's contradictory, it's crazy, and it's life. And we need to accept that if we're going to move forward. Second thing about regret is we gotta get clear on what's important. What's an interesting theme in this was he never had enough time. There were planes to catch and bills to pay. He had a lot to do. If I could only find the time. And it's not just a theme of not enough time and too busy in the song. It's a theme of our lives. You ever say, oh, I'm so busy, so busy. Oh, I didn't have time for lunch today. So busy, I haven't been able to work out. So busy, I didn't get enough sleep. So busy, I didn't have time to pray. Anybody say you're too busy to pray? Anybody ever had that one? Once again, the 3 or 4 of us, that's good. Deepak Chopra once said, if you're too busy to pray once a day, pray twice a day. Too many meetings, too much to do. We're always saying it, too busy, too busy, too busy. You know what I believe? When we say we don't have enough time, it is a sign that we aren't clear what our priorities are. It isn't a lack of time. It's a lack of clarity of knowing what is really important to me. What is it that I want to be spending my time doing? What is it that I'm looking to create and experience and become? That when we're clear on what we want, there is enough time, because we stop dabbling in the little distractions. Dwight Eisenhower, 1954 speech, here's what he said. I have 2 kinds of problems, the urgent and the important. The urgent are not important, and the important are not urgent. And what he says, things that are important are what you are striving to achieve, who you're striving to become, what you are striving to create. But the urgent are those little fires that get put out, those little distractions that happen all the time. Anybody just have a day where your whole day you were putting out fires, you were addressing this and that, and at the end of the day you were busy, but you didn't get anything done? I won't even ask you to raise your hand, because it'll only be me and those 3 people again. I suggest there is not a problem with time, there is a problem with clarity and not knowing and being clear about what's really important to us. We always hear in the Bible the lines, ask and you shall receive, seek and you shall find, knock and the door will be opened unto you. I call them the commandments of clarity. Because when you ask, you need to be clear about what you want. When you seek, you have to be clear about what you're trying to discover. When you knock, it implies that you understand what you want to be opened up to. How clear are you about what you want in your life? How clear are you about what you want to spend your time doing? How clear are you about what you want to create, what you want to experience, who you want to become? And I'll tell you, the most important things, and we have to come up with what are our priorities in life. The most important thing, Paramahansa Yogananda says, is that it is for us to have our human mind be at one with God's mind. That our individual consciousness unified with God consciousness. That our individual soul be unified with the soul and the spirit of God. He said that is the greatest and most important work. He said everybody wants to be successful outside. You know, we're always striving for these outer things, but he said the most important thing is to turn that energy around from the outer to the inner. That the more you cultivate a consciousness and a oneness of God, the wisdom you're seeking will be there. The clarity you're wanting will be there. the efficiency in using your time will be there. The more you are centered from the inside out, seeking God is the most important thing in your life, all the other things will fall into place, and you won't be distracted by the minor things. You will know the purpose you're here. You will know the clarity. You will know the best decision, and you will be more effective in your time. Here's what he said. He said, efficiency that leads to success is developed through through concentration and meditation. So if you want to be more effective in your life, spend more time in the quiet. Spend more time being centered, and you will be clearer and more effective and better guided in whatever you want to achieve. I found a great quote by Lao Tzu that said, "To the mind that is still, the universe reveals itself." And Yogananda said the most important thing to going in is to let go of the distractions of the outer, to quiet the mind to go in, and then as you see from within, you will be able to live and express without in an even greater level of ease. Does that make sense, everyone? So regrets, you got to let go and learn through acceptance. Second thing is that you need to get clear about what's more important, because in how you want to spend your time, and nothing more important than spending time nurturing and cultivating a oneness with God. And the last thing I want to talk about is that we got to live now and love now and stop putting things off. When it says in this, "When you're coming home, Dad, I don't know when, but we'll get together then. Well, we'll have a good time then." So often we're putting things off, putting off living, putting off doing, putting off loving. And I found it interesting at the end of the song, he says, when he hung up the phone, it occurred to me my boy was just like me. He'd grown up just like me. And by the law of attraction, when he was putting out that kind of energy that was being deferred and waiting and passed for things to the future, that's what he ended up receiving. But the good news in that is that we can make a new choice. That because we've gotten old patterns and we've gotten the same old thing, we can make a new choice to live and love and learn in a new way. There's somebody that I know that spent literally 40 years in therapy, like the joke in the beginning, talking about his mama and how much she didn't love him. 40 years. He had a 16-year-old boy, did not pay attention to his son, missing out because he was so caught up in yesterday and what was done to him and about what his mom and their relationship and didn't do, that he actually had a son that he didn't really know. And finally, at the age of 62, recently, decided to let go of the regret and the past. He got clear what's important to him, which is the relationship with his son, even at 16 starting. And he has made loving him now and giving him time and attention now the most important thing in his life. His son has been so touched by the experience, he's even said to his dad, "Hey, Dad, I need to do some therapy from this." So they're doing it individually, they're doing it together. But to me, there's an important thing, all of our relationships don't go well. But just because they haven't gone well doesn't mean that they can't be healed. It doesn't mean that it can't be improved. And even if that person has gone on, we can still heal that relationship and then choose to love whoever's in our lives now. We sometimes spend so much time in regret. We not only miss out, we're only stuck in the past, we miss out in now, in living and loving right now. How many people watch a Scandal or How to Get Away with Murder or Grey's Anatomy on Thursday night? Anybody? Hardly anybody wants to admit it. Me too. I don't see it either. I've not seen it. But the creator of it, the writer of it, Shonda Rhimes, a hugely successful individual, she was saying that she loves to work. She loves the hum, as she calls it, the creative magic and the juice. And she's very, very successful. And she's got 3 kids, and the nanny takes care of them. And they sometimes want to play, and she doesn't have time, just like the song. And what she found was after a couple of years is that her creative juices dried up. And the same work she was doing and enjoying and was so passionate about wasn't there. And so she realized she needed to start saying yes to things she was saying no to. And there were a whole bunch of them, but the number one thing she felt was saying yes to when her kids wanted to play. And so she started playing with her kids. And they would do 30-second dance parties and finger painting and silly little things. And what she realized after a while was, and she said her hum started coming back. And first she thought she needed some play and rest. But what she realized was she needed more of a connection of love. She writes, she says, we could all use a little bit more of love, because that's what it's all about. Said work without play isn't really fun, but life without love is even worse. He said, when I realized the hum wasn't work, the hum was God's whisper. The hum was love. The hum was the very gift of life itself, and living it and enjoying it fully. And here's the interesting thing. She said, because sometimes we think that not enough time, too busy, I don't have time for that, I got so much to do. What she realizes was, when she said yes to playing with her kids, they could only tolerate her for 15 minutes. So she thought it was going to take a lot. They were done with her in 15. And she said unless she was Beyonce or a video game, they weren't going to go beyond 15 with her. But the point of the matter is, sometimes we think, I've got too much time to spend with that person or that person. And you know what? Sometimes just a moment of looking someone in the eye can make a difference. Someone taking a moment to say, hey, how you doing? Everything okay with you? Sometimes just taking a moment to say, I really appreciate the work that you do. You really, really make a difference. To say to someone in your life, I haven't told you in a while, but I really love you. And you're an important person in my life. To bake someone a cake, to send someone flowers. It doesn't take as long as we think. And love is what we're yearning for. Love is why we're here. We have created an image and likeness. There isn't any of us in here who probably doesn't think at some level, I could use a little more love in my life. Well, it's already in you, and it's for us to begin to share it and give it. The thing I like about this song was I loved how unconditionally loving the little boy was. Is it just me, or was he just so loving? I love when it said, and he walked away and his smile never dimmed. Dad just didn't say we were going to play with him, and he walked away and smiled because he said, I'm going to be like him. We wanted to love. And that's why it says, to enter the kingdom of heaven, you must become as a child. To keep loving innocent, purely, and joyously. And I think at the end, his father wasn't mad at him. His father just recognized it. He wasn't mad at his son. And I think they both had love for each other. But it's always about learning how to share and express that love in greater ways. So my question for you is, who haven't you had time for? And who in your life needs your love a little more? And what are you willing to do to show your love to them now in simple and wonderful ways? Mark Twain once said, the greatest regrets we have in life are not the things that we did or not the things that we said, but the things we didn't do and didn't say. So what is it that you haven't said to someone that it's important for you to go say to them? What is the thing that you haven't done with or for someone that you know it's time for you to do? Leo Buscaglia once said, if you miss love, you miss life. So don't miss it. Cats in the Cradle is a song about the regret of a father not spending time with his son who he loved very, very much. And the truth is, we all have regrets in some way. And if we want a happier life and a better life, we need to learn to let go of that regret through acceptance. We need to get clear about what's important and what our priorities are, especially taking time to connect with the divine. And third, is to choose to love now. Don't put it off to then or when. Love the people in your life simply, easily, consistently now. Not missing out on love, but loving now. That is the wonderful message and the power of the song, Cats in the Cradle. God bless you all.